As a child, I often wondered whether it was possible for anyone to trace his or her Black and British history. Now, when I refer to tracing Black and British history, I want to be clear. Black Britons descended from, let's say, recent arrivals to the UK do not have ancestral connections of any note with the Black Tudors of England or with London's Black population of the 17th century, which we know was estimated to be as much as 10,000 people. As interesting as all that is, that's not the history that I personally relate to, knowing as I do that my parents actually arrived in Britain at a different epoch time. So when I talk about tracing Black and British history, I'm talking about tracing the ancestry of British citizens of African Caribbean descent, Black British citizens now referred to as the Windrush generation. My Black and British history is the same as all people with African Caribbean heritage. My history traces back to Africa via the Caribbean islands. So as I wondered about tracing my history, I became preoccupied by the possibility of failure. I became preoccupied with thoughts of raiding several archives with no guarantee of success. I had no resources, no contacts, no knowledge of research methods and techniques, no knowledge of what was possible, but something drove me forwards regardless. Jamaica was important to the development of the British Empire during the 17th and 18th centuries. Yet it surprised me that the British Colonial Office kept extremely good records of those who inhabited the British colonies in the Caribbean. The wealth of information stored about historical events neglected over time astonished me. Documents held in archives and repositories in London and Jamaica revealed the name of my great-great-great-great-grandmother, Ami Jabba. They also reveal the name of my great-great-great-grandfather, John Alexander Crooks. Both were captured off the west coast of Africa. I discovered that they were enslaved on a Jamaican sugar plantation 200 years ago. Now, my two forebears lived at a time when folk enslaved in a normally sedate Jamaican parish erupted into civil unrest. The battle that took place became known as the Baptist War. It precipitated the ending of Britain's system of slavery in the Caribbean. The war ended and emancipation soon followed. And on Emancipation Day, or soon after, John Alexander Crooks uprooted his family and headed for the hills of Jamaica to begin a new life. And I wanted to find out why. So I set about piecing together a chronology using fragments of information that I had collected over time, names, dates and places. There were smaller fragments too. From public records, I identified relationships. I overlaid this with what I learnt about the undercurrent of social and economic discontent that had swept through enslaved communities in the so-called British West Indies, before emancipation of black people, that is. What I uncovered revealed intriguing insights into plantation society. I also came across documented conversations between enslaved folk and Euro Creoles almost 2 centuries ago. This animated my understanding of the frustration my forebears must have felt about the social injustice of their time and their courageous efforts to overcome the mundanity of their existence. Much of this I've woven into the narrative that became Ancestors. Ancestors was my attempt to reconstruct and preserve the truth about my Black and British history. Ancestry Talks series of online workshops addresses the process of searching for African Caribbean ancestry. It's only left for me to say best of luck if you are planning to trace, personalise and preserve your Black and British history. and pass it on to future generations to come.